done right. I'm Dr. Becky, the creator of the science-based plan for wellness. Each week I'll be discussing how to have a healthy life through healthy eating, physical activity, and behavioral changes. How can something so simple and fundamental to human existence be so darn complicated? There's so much information about health and wellness, and Americans don't know who to believe. This show is designed to help you to understand what is the truth. Over the next half hour, and for many weeks to come, I'll be talking about, discussing, chewing up, and dissecting the latest research on how to help you eat healthily, so you don't have to work so hard at it. This is not an infomercial. There are no crazy gimmicks, no popular rapid weight loss tricks, and no magical supplements, nothing extreme, just the resources and the education for a healthy life. Let me try to reassure you a little bit about myself and give you my background. My background is unique, so therefore is my approach, for it will be from a biological, a medical, a psychological, and an emotional perspective. Instead of a ladder, I've climbed a bonsai tree. In 1978, I entered the medical field as a nurse's aide. Since then, I've climbed from a nurse, an RN, to a board-certified obesity medicine specialist. Along the way, I've earned degrees in biology. I have a bachelor's degree in biology, a master's degree in psychology, and a medical degree. I'm also board-certified in OBGYN. Many years ago, I struggled with my weight and energy levels. I noticed that my patients likewise had similar issues. So I started taking the obesity coursework that's necessary to understand the complex interaction between the brain and the GI tract and our environment and how it affects our food choices. In the process, I learned how to eat healthily, lost my addiction to sugar, and lost the necessary weight, and I've been at a normal BMI or a normal weight for over 5 years. In the process of all of those calculations, I realized that if I could help other people eat the same way that I was eating, then likewise people could learn to eat the same way that I did. So that's what this program is about. You will learn scientifically proven ways to improve your health, and I will detangle the food industry's marketing ploys that seem to sabotage anyone who's trying to eat healthily. Although the plan is comprehensively designed, it's simple to start and easy to follow, and there's no calculations involved. Each week I will review and present 2 of the 4 eating options: grocery to go, lickety split, gourmet prepare at home, or healthy dining out. Today I'm going to make a gourmet Labor Day meal: spicy shrimp, herbed red potatoes, garlicky green beans, and watermelon. And I have a lickety split popcorn snack. Plus a physical activity advice today is going to be what is moderate intensity activity, and a behavioral tip today's is snacking bad for you? Don't miss the fact or fact section, and I will also present a science time and story time. Fact or fact: snacking is bad for you. Many factors play a role in whether we eat or not. Today, in the behavioral tips section, I'm going to talk about how to recognize physical hunger from emotional hunger. But as Americans, we're used to eating on demand. People offer us a brownie. We're not really that hungry, but we take it and we eat it because that's the polite thing to do. We walk into the bank, there's a lollipop, and we take it and start sucking on it while our transaction is completed. So we're offered food at many times, and we eat. That's what Americans do. We also crave foods that are marketed to us. Have you ever noticed how juicy and delicious food looks on commercials? we also tend to mimic the people around us. If the people around us are eating, we have a tendency to eat also. Eating on demand is not recommended unless you're a baby. A planned snack may be beneficial. You had a healthy lunch, say it's around 4:30, 5 o'clock. You have dinner planned at around 7 p.m. Around 5 o'clock, you place a healthy snack, one that will hold your blood sugar up until you sit down for your appetizer or until the bread's delivered. So putting in a planned snack can be very beneficial. Last week I talked about the importance of eating a carbohydrate-only snack if you need a snack before bedtime. If we understand what is happening in our bodies, we can make smart, informed choices. You need to ask yourself, do I need a snack or do I want a snack? Hopefully, more often than not, if you want a snack, you say no. If you need it, then you go ahead and eat it. So is snacking bad for you? Not if you need it. Today's today's gourmet meal is, as I said, spicy shrimp. This is a delicious combination that can be prepared ahead of time for your guests. So I'm going to start with the herbed potato salad. Now, potatoes and potato salad have gotten a bad rap. Did you know that if you cool a potato, it becomes a resistant starch, which means it takes longer to break down in your GI system, so you keep your blood sugar up longer. So last night I cooked the potatoes, and ideally you would want to put the sauce on with it still a little bit warm, but they are cool right now. You can make the sauce in a blender or a food processor. The first time I made this, I just used a whip and it worked out well, so that's what I'm going to do today. Now, I've already placed the olive oil in this container and the garlic and lemon juice and the Dijon mustard. So they get all whipped up. Actually, it does get a little more olive oil. And as you can see, it's 2 teaspoons of salt. Now, if we're going to stick to the DASH diet, which is the low sodium diet, we're going to use a salt substitute. And it also calls for, how much was that? I measured it out. I think it was 1/4 cup. Anyway, some of the water from the potatoes gets mixed in. So you whip this all up, and I'm going to have to go to the side here. So you're making like an emulsed dressing, and then you pour this over the potatoes, and then you add the chopped onions, the dill. Now you can make this recipe with either dill or parsley. I just happen to prefer the dill. Then you mix these up. And again, it's preferable that this is a little bit warm. Now, a couple weeks ago, I challenged my mother to a little cook-off contest, and it was my herbed potatoes against her mayonnaise-based potato salad, which is famous in our family, and I knew the competition was going to be stiff. So when we tested it on the family and there was a tie, I was quite pleased because I had the healthier choice and it was as tasty as the famous potato salad recipe in the family. So I'm going to protect you from watching me try to get all of these all the celery in here. I'm not going to toss that in right now because I think it's going to be a catastrophe. But this gets put in and you mix it all up, and then you have a delicious herbed potato salad. Next, we're going to do the spicy shrimp. Now, this is actually a very simple recipe. The potato salad can be made ahead of time. The green beans that I'm going to make can be made ahead of time. And this can be put together ahead of time, but then just grilled up when everyone comes over. So this is half of the recipe. I made the other half last night. So you're going to put in the garlic. Ruh-roh. So I forgot the garlic. So you're going to put the garlic in, and then you're going to put in the spices, which is the cayenne pepper. Now that's going to make it either really spicy or mildly spicy. So I have it at mild. I measured those out ahead of time, and then the lemon juice. We get about 1 teaspoon since this is a half of a recipe. So then you mix all those up, and once that's all mixed together, you can put the shrimp in. Again, I'm going to go ahead and use the salt substitute to keep the sodium content down. Now these get all stirred up together, and then they get put into a pan on top of the stove, or you can actually grill it up if you have a grill available. And then you just pour those in there, and you grill that up. I'm going to go ahead and put that down on the grill right now. Next is the green beans with chili garlic sauce. This is actually a very delicious meal. I've made it now multiple times for different guests, and I get raving reviews. So again, I cooked up the green beans last night and cut up and measured out all the ingredients. So in the skillet goes the olive oil, and that's going to be about 1/4 cup. And then you put in the shiitake mushrooms. These are a prebiotic, so they help with your gut microbes. And you put in red peppers and onions. Again, onions are a prebiotic. So everything in here is very healthy besides tasty. So we're going to put in the red chili sauce. Now, this again is going to determine how spicy your food is. You may want to put that in and then taste it before you add any extra. And you cook all this up. Once it's all cooked up, then you put the green beans down. Then you cook the green beans up. And I'm going to have to swipe my spoon from the potatoes. So then you stir all this up, and you cook that all up. I'm going to put that back on the stove and cook that up for you. Now here is your gourmet meal for Labor Day. We've got spicy shrimp and herbed potato salad, green beans, and 2 cups of watermelon. Now, as you've heard me say before, the watermelon or fruit is your new dessert. That's where you're going to get the bulk of your carbs. Of course, you're getting some carbs from the potatoes. Since they're cooled, they become a resistant starch. Reviewing this meal, does it meet the American Diabetic Association diet? Check. Now, you may say, why do I need a diabetic diet? I'm not a diabetic. But most of us don't need to store fat. So anytime you shoot your blood sugar up, you're going to store fat. So By keeping this carbohydrate count less than 60 and making it so that it's digested very slowly so your blood sugar stays up from one meal to the next, it will help you avoid storing fat and also help you feel energized from one meal to the next. So American Diabetic Association diet, check. American Heart Association diet, check. Mediterranean diet, check. DASH diet, check, because I kept the sodium content down by using the salt substitute. Health done right, you better believe it. Okay, now we're going to go on to move more physical activity. So several weeks ago, I was at the Elks, and I had the pleasure of watching many older couples dancing. And some were slow dancing, some were fast dancing to the music. And I recognize that along with the benefits to their brain, they were actually getting some of their physical activity requirements for the day. The current U.S. Department of Health and Human Services recommends 150 minutes of moderate intensity exercise per day to reduce the risk of chronic disease. But what is moderate intensity physical activity? The slow dancing would have been considered mild intensity, and the fast dancing that they were doing would have been considered moderate intensity, especially the one dude who was really shaking his leg. So when we look at moderate intensity, well, first of all, let's talk about light intensity, because even though this isn't going to go into the 150 minutes, it's still pretty important for your overall health and for you to stay physically fit throughout your life. So when you look at METs, or our metabolic equivalent, is a measure of the amount of oxygen used by the body at a given time. So if you're sitting and doing nothing, you have a MET of 1. So mild activity is considered less than 3 METs. So if you're walking the dog, sitting using the computer, light housework such as washing dishes or cooking, they're considered mild intensity. Likewise, fishing or playing most musical instruments. Moderate intensity exercise is between 3 and 6 METs. That's the fast dancing, heavy cleaning such as washing windows, mowing your grass, vacuuming, mopping, bicycling about 10 to 12 miles per hour is considered moderate intensity. So you should try to get in some moderate intensity activity every day, and certainly a nighttime of boogieing down is just fine. Change your life, change your habits. Behavioral tip change today is try to establish if you have an emotional relationship or connection to food. Take some time to really feel and think about what you're eating. How do you feel after you eat a brownie or some spinach? Record the results in a journal. Try to identify your inner piglet that makes you overeat. By journaling, you may find that healthy food makes you feel better and you're more energized, and unhealthy food makes you feel more sluggish and maybe even have some abdominal discomfort. Once you're able to make the connection between healthy eating and how it makes you feel, you're more likely to repeat that pattern of activity. So by journaling, you can start to see, if I eat something that's healthy, I feel better, I have more energy, I'm more productive, or I have better quality relationships. So try to figure out what your relationship is with food. If you've had a healthy meal and within 2 hours you want a snack, you're going to need to try to determine whether it's true hunger, true physical hunger, or emotional hunger. And sometimes it can be kind of challenging to differentiate these two. Thirst can feel like hunger. So the first thing you want to do is drink 8 to 16 ounces of water and see if your hunger goes away. Physical hunger usually comes on more slowly, and you feel stomach growling or a headache. Emotional hunger seems to come on pretty quickly, and it can be in response to a negative experience or a positive emotion. So you can be joyful and you can want to eat, or you can feel sad or mad and you can want to eat. So try to see if there's a relationship to your feelings and try to determine whether it comes on pretty quickly. Then you want to try to eliminate the foods that you find to be very addictive, and try to figure out what you can do in place of eating a snack if you don't really need the snack. You can go for a quick walk. You can try to focus on the bikini you have picked out at a store that you want to try to get in. So do the best you can to try to get some different coping strategies instead of eating when you don't really need to eat. So remember, changing habits takes time. You cannot change what you do not know. The science of health. When I say I don't allow the F word, people look at me with total confusion. I then say you're not allowed to call yourself or anyone else fat. We have fat cells, and we eat monounsaturated fats, but she's not a fatty, and he's not too fat that he needs to have an extra seat. So the next piece of research I found to be very interesting because it's consistent with my belief, and also it's something that we've known for a long time. And the study is titled, "Fat Shaming in the Doctor's Office Can Be Mentally and Physically Harmful." Sizeism occurs when anyone is discriminated against based on their size, their weight, being overweight or obese. This came from the American Psychological Association Journal, and they summarized, quote, "Medical discrimination based on people's size and negative stereotypes of overweight people can take a toll on people's physical health and well-being." Quote, "Research has shown that doctors repeatedly advise weight loss for fat patients while recommending CAT scans, blood work, or physical therapy for other average weight patients. In some cases, providers may not take fat patients' complaints seriously or might assume that their weight is the cause of any symptoms they experience," unquote. Well, first of all, Miss Researcher, I don't like the way you're using the F word, okay? You should be using this person's weight or excess weight and not use the F word in your statements. But I do think that you have a good point here, and your research has been shown to be correct, that we do need to be very well, as physicians and healthcare providers, we need to be aware of how we come across and how we judge people, just like most of society has been. Now we know that many people in society judge individuals based on their size. So, point well taken. The $6 million question is how do you address fat and obesity without hurting someone's feelings? And that's a very challenging problem. With my plan, I've tried to take the approach, it's not your fault, but your attitude can really help, as one approach. Many elements that affect our weight are outside of our control. Our bodies are complex, and societal factors play a major role. So I try to help you understand that you can still care for yourself, love yourself, and have high self-esteem, but still see your weight as an issue and work on bringing your weight down, eating healthily, having a healthy lifestyle, and still believe in yourself and have a positive image. There's one A-list actor that I really respect, and she's from the show This Is Us, and she says, "My size doesn't define me." She embraces her body while she still plans to lose weight. She also says that she is proud of who she is as a person, but still desires to get to a healthy weight for herself and not for anyone else. Good attitude, Christy. I agree with you wholeheartedly. it's story time. On the first show, I talked about Allie Vincent, the first female winner of the Biggest Loser contest, and how she lost about 40% of her weight. Then the second show, I talked about how she gained her weight back because of her slow metabolism, and how after the Biggest Loser contest, the contestants have their metabolism down for about 6 years. I also mentioned her history of sexual abuse and how childhood sexual assault is a precursor to obesity. She then joined Weight Watchers in April 2016. I have not been able to find any progress or any notes based on her experience with Weight Watchers. But in a recent post, she said, and I quote, "I've decided to feel proud of myself again, to H with shame." Then she goes on to talk about a bad experience, and she's saying, and I quote, "I really want to order a pizza because I'm hungry and I don't have anything healthy to make, but I don't, ... I wish I could just scream, ... sad face." So, Allie, we need to get you to a healthier place. We need to get you where you have your life a little more organized. You need to keep some healthy foods in your house, and we need to help you recognize your association of between your emotions and your desire to eat. So stay tuned. We're going to talk more with Allie. Well, maybe not personally to her, but about Allie in future episodes. Okay, recipe for health number 10. Today's lickety split snack is my go-to for, as I refer to as my after school snack. So this morning, I popped up this popcorn, and I'm missing something. Oh, there it is. Okay, so this is a very, very simple trick. You just put about 2 tablespoons of popcorn in a brown paper bag. You put it in the microwave, and you spray it. Now, I spray with butter spray, but I've had people say, "Oh, I don't want to put all those chemicals on my food." So I say, okay, well, we can make up a homemade popcorn version for you. This is olive oil and water, and you can see on the screen the recipe. And then, because I use some dill in my dilled potato salad, I save some for my popcorn. I have made this before, and it's actually very delicious. You need to have the dill a little bit dry, but you can then sprinkle on salt substitute or regular salt. Again, if we're going to keep it on the DASH diet where the sodium content's really low, we're going to use the salt substitute. So this is a lickety split snap. Where am I going to put it? Okay, so this is a lickety split popcorn, and you can have this as your after school snack, or you can have it to hold you over from one meal to the next. You can take it to a friend's house for a healthy snack. I have many varieties that I try out on my friends and family, and they usually are pretty well received. So popcorn is a whole grain, and last week I talked about cheap, inexpensive, healthy foods. So this whole bottle is about $3, so this is going to come out to cents, a couple cents for your food. Okay, so that's a great choice. Okay, so this is part of the American Diabetic Diet, check. Mediterranean diet, check. Health done right, you better believe it. Cheers to your health beverage. Sometimes the perfect ending to a long, full week is hanging out with your friends at the local brewery. We do know that there are a lot of health benefits to alcohol. We don't recommend that you start drinking alcohol if you don't already drink for the health benefits. But for ladies, that's 1 drink a day, and gentlemen, it's 2. This is a Heart Healthy Bloody Mary mix. What I did was it's homemade, and used a low sodium V8 juice, and then it has a bunch of spices in it. Tomato juice, well, actually it's V8 juice. I chose a low sodium one because the Worcester sauce has a little bit of sodium in it. You mix all these together. If you don't want to add the vodka, you don't have to. You can drink it as a virgin Bloody Mary. So cheers to your healthy, happy life. We're at the end of this week's show of Dr. Becky's Health Done Right. Hopefully you've learned some nugget of information to take on your journey to a healthy life. Ready to change your life? We're looking for a few folks to try out our program for free for 60 days. Allie, oh Allie. If interested, send me an email at drbecky'shealthdoneright@gmail.com. Thanks for joining in. I'll see you next week, same time, same place. Don't forget,